Hello everyone, today we're going to look at some more problems using the quadratic formula. So this is a continuation of the previous lesson, and so we're just going to kind of jump into it. So our first step is we always want to get 0 on one side of the equation. So the first thing we're going to do in this one is add 5 to both sides, so that I have 0 on that right side, and that's going to give me x squared plus 9x plus 1 is equal to 0. So now that I have 0 on the right side, I need to identify what A, B, and C are. So in this case, A would be 1, B is 9, and C is -1. And then we're going to plug those into the quadratic formula. So we have x is equal to -9 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c. And c is actually +1. Okay, so, and that's all over 2 times a. Okay, so now we're going to simplify the 3 parts that we have. So we have this part, we have the radical, and then we have this denominator here. So our first part, that's just going to stay as -9. Okay, then plus or minus the square root of, and then in our calculator, we're going to type in all that stuff on the inside of the radical. So we have 9 squared minus 4 times 1 times 1, and that's just going to be 77. And that is over 2. 2 times 1 is 2 there. Okay, so now our next step would be to simplify this radical that we have right here. But if I try to break 77 apart, it actually just breaks apart as 7 and 11, which are both prime. So 77 cannot simplify. So this right here is actually our answer. I cannot go any further with this problem. Okay, here's another one. Again, get 0 on that right side. So if I subtract 6x squared from both sides, I end up with 2x squared plus 11x plus 7 is equal to 0. So identify A, B, and C. A is 2, B is 11, and C is 7. So now if we plug those things in, x is equal to -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, and then all of that's over 2 times a. Okay. So that's plugging into our formula. Now we just need to simplify. So let's simplify this part, and this part. So the -11 will just stay as -11, okay, plus or minus the square root of, and then I'm going to type that stuff into my calculator, 11 squared minus 4 times 2 times 7, that's going to be 121 minus 56. And let's see here. So I've got 65 on the inside of the radical, and then we actually have a 4 on the bottom. Okay, so then we would try to simplify root 65, but root 65 actually cannot be simplified. So this is actually completely finished. I cannot simplify this any further, so that would be my answer here. Okay, here's another one. Again, the first step, get 0 on that right side. So subtract x from both sides, and that's going to give us x squared plus 2x minus 7 equal to 0. Okay, so there my a is 1 again, b is 2, c is -7, and we're going to substitute those things into the formula. So I've got x is equal to negative b plus or minus root, okay, b squared minus 4 times a times c, all of that's over 2 times a, and then simplify. So that, simplify that part, simplify that part, and simplify that part, and we're going to have negative 2 plus or minus the square root of, okay, 2 squared is 4, minus 4 times 1 times negative 7, that's going to end up being plus 28. So we actually have 32 on the inside of the radical. On the bottom of this thing, we've got a 2, okay? So now, what we're going to do is we're going to try to simplify this. And this time we actually can simplify the square root of 32. And that breaks apart as 2 and 16. 16 breaks apart as 4 and 4. So since I have a pair of 4s, that means we have 4 on the outside and root 2 on the inside. So now that is going to go in the place of root 32. So this thing is now equal to negative 2 plus or minus 4 root 2 all over 2. Okay, so now this thing can be simplified if all 3 parts can be divided by a common factor. Okay, and this 2, this 2, and this 2, there's 4. Those things can all be divided by 2. So this is actually going to become negative 1 plus or minus 2 root 2. And that is our final answer on this one. Okay, here's one more example. Again, I want to get 0 on the right side, so I'm going to move 5x to the left by subtracting it. So that's going to be 2x squared, this time plus 4x minus 1 equal to 0. So this time a is 2, b is 4, c is negative 1. So plug those things in, and I get x is equal to negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 squared minus 4 times a times c. And then all that's over 2 times a. Okay, so now simplify it. So we're going to do this part, and this part. So that's going to give me x is equal to negative 4 plus or minus the square root of, okay, 4 squared is 16, plus 8, so that's going to be 24. And all of that is over 4. Okay, so then we're going to take this root 24 and try to break it down. Okay, so root 24, that breaks down as 2 and 12, 2 and 6, 2 and 3. So I have a pair of 2s, and the 2 and 3 stay on the inside. So I've got 2 root 6 on the inside. So this thing is now negative 4 plus or minus 2 root 6 over 4. And then we're looking at these 3 pieces again. And what we know about these 3 pieces, they can all be divided by 2. So the simplified form of this thing is going to be negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 6 over 2. And that would be as far as we can simplify this, okay? So today we're going to work on delta math again. Please let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day.